Jumril. Hello, my name is Nich Chea. I'm a Communication and Development Manager at CMAA. As you know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we are here today to raise awareness of the domestic violence support and prevention. And here with me, we have Judy from the Lowell Police Department. Hi, how are you, Judy?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
And before we start, would you mind introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure thing. My name is Judy Phothimath, and I work with the Lowell Police Department. I'm currently assigned to the Family Service Domestic Violence Unit as a detective. I've been working at the Lowell Police Department for 13 years. And part of my duties, it focuses on conducting follow-ups regarding serious domestic violence cases, child and elderly abuse, and sexual assaults. And part of the duties is gathering interviews with witnesses, suspects, and the victims, and in order to process through a criminal procedure. So in order to do it in court.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. All right, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. The purpose of our discussion is to learn more about the resources and the services provided to the survivor of domestic violence. And our goal is to gather information that will not only help inform our community, but also help connect more people to the support they need. So the first question I would like to begin with, what is domestic violence?
So domestic violence is domestic or family violence through abuse, power, and control, right? So it's a pattern of behavior where an individual is continuously abusing physically or verbally a person.
Okay. And when we talk about abuse, it's important to understand how the law defines it. So what is the legal definition of abuse, or what acts can be considered as abuse?
Okay, so we would say like when the abuser attempts to cause harm or physical harm to someone, right? So it's between family members, household members, which also means anybody that lives within the home, like roommates, and also like intimate partners. And some of the things would be hitting somebody, striking somebody, and also verbal abuse, right? Like somebody that's threatening somebody, threatening harm to someone. And then also any unwanted sexual advances, right? Sexual acts.
So abuse can happen in many forms. So what are the different types of abuse in relationship and in families?
So I just mentioned most of them. There's physical abuse, hitting, punching, kicking, any type of touching, that's unwanted by force or threat, right? There's also emotional abuse, verbal, like making somebody feel ashamed of themselves, humiliating somebody. There's name calling, and then also putting somebody in fear, right? So that would be a type of emotional abuse. And then sexual abuse. So it's any unwanted sexual acts by force, right? Or by threat. So if somebody is making you do something in a sexual act, that would be considered as sexual abuse.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, to know the forms and the types of the abuse. So recognizing the trace of an abuser can be the first step toward prevention and intervention. Can you tell us like some characteristics that can indicate abusive behavior?
Absolutely. So some of the characteristics of an abuser would be someone that's isolating or controlling somebody, not allowing the victim to see friends or go out with their family members, keeping them in the house or constantly checking their phone. Another type would be somebody that has anger issues, right, where they immediately get mad fast over small things, whether it's in the home or in public. Um, and then there's verbal abuse, right? Somebody that's always name calling you, making you feel bad about yourself, making you feel guilty, saying mean things. And then I would just say maybe this kind of goes with explosive temper, like somebody's breaking, personal things in the home, possessions that the victim believes is important to her or him. So any type of those characteristics.
Okay. Yeah. And what are some of the factors or reasons that might make it difficult for the victims to leave from domestic violence?
So maybe fear, right? The victim is afraid of leaving because they fear that the abuser is going to hurt or hurt the victim or their family or the children. Financial reasons, right? Maybe the victim relies on the abuser to help pay rent or the mortgage, provide for the children and the victim. The abuser will constantly apologize, tell them that they're going to change. So that could be a behavior of that as well. And social concerns, right? So a lot of victims don't report because they're afraid that they have mutual friends and their mutual friends will disconnect and not be in their life anymore. And I would say absolutely cultural, like religious beliefs. Some people might not report because they feel like it's against their religion and their background. So that's what I would consider why some people would make it difficult to leave.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I do know some people back in the past that they try to keep it to themselves. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So if someone is in an abusive relationship, what are the steps that they can take in order to seek help or support?
Having the victim, him or her, reach out to like a friend, a family member, someone that they trust, an advocate. So I know the Lowell Police Department, we have an advocate that can assist with some of these resources. And we also have services that are available here within Lowell and the Merrimack Valley that are free to domestic violence victims. They will be confidential services and also support groups, counseling, resources where they can help you safety plan and find shelter if that's necessary, and maybe even provide some legal assistance.
Okay, thank you. Are there anything else that they can do?
There's always a lot that people can do, right? So I always tell victims to, if it's an emergency, if they need police response immediately, just to call 911. I know Lowell has a non-emergency line, but most people just know 911 on their phone. I would also highly recommend getting a restraining order at their local courthouse. Here in Lowell, it would be the Lowell District Courthouse.
So can you mention, or would you mind sharing about how to develop safety plan in the Lowell area?
Reaching out to the local advocate. In this instance, we have Sujeidi Hernandez. We also have advocates assigned at Lowell District Court. Reaching out to a family member, telling the family members what's going on. If you're able to get out of the home, go to a safe place, friend's house, family's house, trusted neighbor. And then getting a restraining order is always the number one that we like to share with victims. And then changing the locks on your doors, right? So in case the abuser has a key, they can't get into the home. And then also just letting people know what's going on, right? Whether it's family, friends, or even your workplace.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's very important information to know. And before we end, is there anything else you would like to add or to say?
Absolutely. So I always, want to encourage victims of domestic abuse to come forward. I know that there is, people that might think it's a negative thing, or culturally they don't believe that, they can report domestic abuse. But we're here, and we have an advocate, and we have resources. And if you just have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to our office.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Judy, and for the wonderful information sharing to the communities. And I hope that people will take advantage of the resources available to them. And following by this discussion, I will meet with Sujeidi to discuss about the restraining order. And now I would like to thank you and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And next we have Sujeidi Hernandez is with me today, and she will be discussing about restraining orders. So before we start, Sujeidi, would you mind introduce yourself and the work you do to our audience?
Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Sujeidi Hernandez. I work at the Lowell Police Department. I've been with the Family Service Unit about 3 years now. My role as a victim advocate is to help victims involved in a domestic find their way through the legal system, find them resources that benefit them, and also just kind of make sure that they have somebody there with them throughout the whole legal process.
Okay, thank you. And restraining orders can be an essential tool for those seeking protection from abuse. But understanding the process and the legalities around them can be a little bit confusing. So to help clarify some of these questions, we are having Sujeidi here today, who will be sharing information about restraining order and how it works, what individuals need to know when seeking for restraining order. So the first question is, what is exactly a restraining order?
A civil court order provides protection for those who are involved in physical harm and a sexual abuse among family members or household members.
Okay. And now that we know a restraining order is, I'm wondering, how can someone actually get a restraining order?
So you can either go to your district or superior or probate family court to get this civil court order. You also have to fill out what we call an affidavit. It is a section where you have to describe factual information or description of a past abuse or recent abuse. And it is very important for everyone that's filling out that affidavit, excuse me, to remember to include the offender's first and last name, is his address or her address, telephone, and workplace, just so we have a better way of trying to serve this restraining order to that offender.
Okay.
Also, I just want to add, people who can get this restraining order can be a spouse or a former spouse, can be parents of a minor child, can be a present or a former household member, can also be a person involved in a substantial relationship with the victim, and can also be blood family relative.
Okay, yeah. And how does it work after someone get a restraining order?
Once the restraining order is issued, if violated, now it is considered what we called a criminal offense. If the officer believes the offender has violated those terms, now we can arrest that person, excuse me. It is very important to include here that once you feel like that offender has violated that restraining order, call 911 immediately. Also, always make sure to have a copy of a restraining order with you.
Okay. So when a restraining order is issued, what happened next? What should both parties expect?
Both parties should expect when a restraining order is issued by the court, it can be either the court orders the abuser to stop or refrain from causing harm to the victim. They're expected to maybe sometimes not have any sort of contact with the victim, or it can also lead to maybe if the offender has firearms that they release it to the court. All these are factors of having a restraining order. If the offender decides to violate that, again, it's a violation, which leads to a criminal offense.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. So now that we have covered what happens after restraining orders is issued, let's shift our focus to the support available for the victims. What are the programs that assist the victim of domestic violence?
Yeah, so we have victim advocates like me at your local police departments. You know, the victim advocates are available at court too. They provide emotional support, help you with crisis intervention, and input and community resources. We also have programs like the House of Hope, Asian Task Force. We have Alternative House, and we also have the Lowell Police Department itself as resources for that victim involved in the domestic to seek out as much help as they need.
Okay, yeah, that's good that we have a lot of programs that would support the victims. And thank you for sharing that information. So in addition to the programs, what are some other resources available to support them besides the program?
Yeah, so I listed a couple of resources, one of them being said it's the Lowell Police Department. I also made sure to list below the courthouse. Like I said, they have victim advocates as well where they can help you. We also have MassGov, where if you wanted to search more into getting a restraining order, they have a bunch of resources on there as well. I also made sure to provide you guys resources, links, phone numbers of the Alternative House, House of Hope, the Asian Task, just listed below. So if you really wanted to make to go and have a deep search or reach out to someone and just kind of ask them questions, I advise you it'd be a great idea.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. And I think with that, I believe the victim can feel more empowered and supported as they seek safety and healing. All right, thank you so much for taking the time to share the important information and also the work you do to support the survivor of the domestic violence are really incredible and important. And I believe that the Lowell Police Department play an important role in keeping everyone safe. So we truly appreciate your commitment, your effort, and the information. Hopefully the information you have shared with us today will help better inform the community about the resources available to them. So before we wrap up, do you have anything else to add or to say?
Yeah, I just want to make one more point. It doesn't always have to be just people that are involved in the domestic. If you're a family or a friend, I hope you guys found this useful to at least give the police department a call and have them go over and check out your friend or a family and make sure that they're safe. At least know that they have these resources and now you have them to share it with them and spread the word.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, It comes to the end of our discussion now. Once again, thank you for joining us and thank you everyone for watching. Stay safe and see you in the next video. Thank you.